Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's SIIA Tech Chats. I am joined today by Shlomo Weiss, Senior Vice President of Software Monetization at Gemalto. Gemalto's software monetization portfolio offers software licensing, protection, and entitlement management solutions. So, Shlomo, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great, thanks for having me. Good morning.
Well, let's just jump right in. As the business world continues to move to a more digital landscape, how do organizations navigate the latest industry trends and turn them into monetization opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question. Over here in the software monetization business at Gemalto, we primarily serve two types of customers, two types of companies. One are software vendors, so more traditional type of software companies that are moving into the subscription and then cloud type of models. And they're certainly changing their business, right? They're going from a perpetual model where they had to ship software one time and maybe get some maintenance revenue, to really changing their entire customer relationship and therefore the way that they need to do business. And that trend's been happening for a number of years, and we're seeing it continuing to progress with even ever larger companies. The second type of companies that we work with are what we call intelligent device vendors. Hardware companies that are technology companies that sell hardware and also are starting to recognize that the software they have, either within the hardware or as add-ons, can really help them transform their business. And so they're looking to move from this kind of hardware-centric type of model into start selling software, services, and eventually to the IoT. We're seeing both types of companies, whether it's software companies making a transition or hardware companies making a transition, having going through this digital transformation to completely change the way they do business.
So what about licensing? Do all the evolving business models create more complexities when it comes to licensing?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, licensing is certainly an area that gets impacted, right? If you think about it, like I said before, if you're a software company that's moving to subscription, how do you manage those subscriptions? How do you ensure that a customer whose term of the subscription is ending, and if they want to renew, how do you ensure renewals, timely renewals? If they want to add users, if they want to decrease the number of users, depending on if they want to move to a pay-per-use model, it gets more complex. Same thing with hardware companies as well, right? If a hardware company, which was typically selling a hardware device, is now moving into a license-based software that they're either licensing on-premise or in the cloud or in a combination, they need to shift their entire way of thinking. And it's not just about delivering the license or the business model, but it's how they operate as a company, right? So it's the entire life cycle of the license and the software, from when the customer is onboarded, that the license gets activated, the license and the software get updated and delivered. And so they really need to think through that entire kind of chain and life cycle that they have with their customers to see how they manage that as they're going ahead and changing their business. So certainly it adds complexity. Another aspect of the complexity are just the number of types of platforms and deployment models that the software companies and the device vendors need to be able to support, right? Whether it's from operating systems or if they're deploying their software on-premise, in the cloud, a hybrid combination of the two. You look at different technologies, if they're shipping and selling their software and is being deployed in virtual environments, containers and whatnot. It just really adds a lot of complexity to the way that they have to license and manage their business. And that's really where we fit in also. I mean, it's a lot of these companies, it's not their expertise. It's what we recommend is that they really take a look at their end-to-end model and the end-to-end process and customer life cycle in order to really see what is the best method and systems and processes they need to do in order to be able to support this.
So I want to ask you about the device manufacturing industry. You recently released survey data that shows that the device manufacturing industry is embracing software over hardware as a primary business model. Why the change, and what are some of the benefits for them adopting software-based revenue models?
Yeah, it's a great question. There are a few different drivers that are that are affecting this and that the device vendors are embracing of why they need to make this transition. In most cases, what we find is that it starts with their existing hardware business is getting more competitive. In many cases, their hardware is becoming commoditized, and they see that the way for them to differentiate themselves is through the software features, the software functionality, giving additional services, additional value to their customers. And as they go from looking at this from a hardware-centric business to software-centric, it's not just the benefit of being able to differentiate themselves, but they can offer that additional value to their customers, and they can also have a more ongoing, connected type of a relationship with their customers that's a recurring relationship. So they don't ship the hardware one time, and then in the next upgrade cycle of the hardware, which could be years away, is the next time that they talk to their customer. Right? They're constantly being able to release new software, new features, new functionality that gives them that continuous relationship with the customer and brings the customer a lot of value. So to sum it up, it's the real main drivers. One is almost the business necessity of hardware being commoditized. They have business pressure, so they want to differentiate themselves. And then they find that it helps them have a better connection with their own customers and adding more value to what they can provide.
Well, and you have a relatively new secure licensing solution, the Sentinel Fit. How does that support the transition for the manufacturers?
So Sentinel Fit is the latest addition to our licensing portfolio. We sell end-to-end solutions that include both the back office management system we call entitlement management in order to help customers and companies manage the life cycle of the license, right, from activation through updates, through renewals, etc. And then there's the license enforcement components that are integrated within the software in order to be able to have a secure mechanism for turning on and off features, for implementing different license models, and interacting then also with the back office with the entitlement management system to give that full end-to-end picture. Sentinel Fit is our newest addition to our license enforcement technology, which is really focused on small devices, small footprint devices. So if you think about the emergence of the IoT, there are many, many devices, millions, even billions of devices that are being deployed, and not all of them have the capacity and the capabilities of larger type of devices, whether they're larger, PCs or even phones or different appliances, but rather they have smaller footprint and compute capabilities. Sentinel Fit extends our capabilities that we have for traditional types of devices to be able to support smaller environments and give the flexibility to companies that want to be able to also offer unique business models and unique licensing and to manage that securely across different IoT environments. So it helps in these smaller, more limited areas but gives the same type of value to companies who want to be able to have that type of flexibility.
Fantastic. Now, Shlomo, before I let you go, I do want to ask you, it was recently announced the intention for Thales to acquire Gemalto. What does this mean for Gemalto?
So like you said, Thales is in the process of acquiring Gemalto. As was announced in December, this is in process. It's a project that's ongoing right now. The deal is expected to close in the second half of 2018, so we're not yet one company. But for us, once we are one company with Thales having acquired Gemalto, this gives us another level of global breadth even beyond of what we have today. So the plan is for Gemalto to become a fully run operating business line within Thales. Thales today has, I believe, it's 6 different businesses, and this will be the 7th. And Thales is actually going to bring other Thales existing businesses under the Gemalto umbrella. So it's going to give us even further strength of portfolio of our offering, as well as give us the breadth and the consistency and the stability of a very large global company. And that's going to help us just even take things to the next level in bringing all those benefits to our customers that we see as true partners for the long term, and will give us that additional scale and stability.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Shlomo, thank you so much for joining us today. For more information on Gemalto, you can visit their websites, and we'll see you back here next week for SIIA Tech Chats.